Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with If I Could Choose Only One Recording by Artist X. It would have to be Work M. Well, here's the deal. Artist X is Herbert von Karajan. Oh my God, did he make records? Thousands of recordings. So which one do I choose? Which one do I offer to the evil god Karajans as evidence of, first of all, Karajan's greatness as a conductor, and second of all, that he should not destroy all the rest of Karajan's output? And what do I pick? Do I pick an orchestral work, a choral work, an opera? Karajan was all of those things. I mean, his choral performances were, because he hated choruses. They competed with his orchestra for primary attention, so he usually banished them to like left field somewhere. But on the other hand, his orchestral conducting was amazing routinely, and his operatic conducting, before he became like insane and started wrecking voices and whatnot and casting things strangely, was often quite remarkable and gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But I ruled out opera because, quite frankly, opera is as much it really is more, frankly, an issue of singers than it is conductors. No matter how great the conductor is and how much they interpose themselves, the bottom line is, if the singing isn't great, nobody cares. Really. I don't know anybody who listens to an opera for the conducting and not for the singing. I mean, there may be some people, but we don't care. So anyway, let's get to it then. It's going to be an orchestral recording. That reduces the choices still more to which orchestra are we dealing with? Is it going to be the Berlin Philharmonic? Is it going to be the Vienna Philharmonic? Or is it going to be one of his early ones with the Philharmonia? Let's not forget those. Some of those recordings were just marvelous and better than anything he did later in that same repertoire, because he did everything over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Very, very irritating. So you have to pick things that he made and remade and demade. And I have decided unilaterally to eliminate everything that he repeated, because that makes choice so much easier. First of all, because I think when you compete with yourself, you're being kind of foolish. I really do. I mean, it says something about how you felt about your previous work, and it says something to your audience who felt impelled to commit to you on that previous performance version, thinking that it had something valuable to offer and that you believed in it. And then to sort of tacitly say to people, well, that was then, this is now. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that for any number of reasons. So we're going to eliminate all of that. That makes life much, much easier, because Karajan was not, quite frankly, at his best, in my view, in the standard German repertoire, which is what he re-recorded and re-recorded a billion times. I mean, it doesn't mean he didn't make beautiful recordings in that repertoire, because what he did have was an exceptionally high standard of orchestral execution. He was a chord guy par excellence. He was interested in orchestral sonority, in sound, particularly that of the string section. And so you knew when you had a Karajan recording that it was going to get the treatment. And if they were all at the top of their game, the treatment made some really glorious recordings. Now, some people didn't like the treatment. They thought that it was slick and oily and oleaginous. Yes, it was like oleo, like margarine. It was oleaginous, slimy and slippery, and technically polished to a high sheen, but interpretively lacking in just basic idiomatic flair for each individual work. They all became Karajanized. So, that was a legitimate argument, quite frankly. But we're not dealing with those, because we've eliminated the Germanic repertoire, which is also good, because the evil god Karajans loves the Germanic repertoire, and he's not going to want to get rid of all of Karajan's Beethoven and Brahms and Bruckner and all that stuff, Wagner and who knows what else. So here we are with things that he only did once. And I really feel you have to do something with the Berlin Philharmonic, because he did he did raise their level of execution markedly and create a magnificent instrument out of them. I love his Vienna Phil recordings. I like his recordings in Vienna generally better than his ones in Berlin, because that orchestra had its own characteristic sound as well, which Karajan could not Karajanize. So it was a meeting of equals, and there was some amazing music making as a result, where they sort of, bumped heads and great stuff came out. But no, we have to feature that which is best in what he did. And given the fact that he wasn't at his best in the Germanic repertoire, which he felt obligated to record a zillion times and try to be the best at, rather desperately, and to my mind, in a kind of insecure way, it's going to be other stuff. And the other stuff, the Singleton recordings, feature some of his very best work, including, finally, we get to it, this one, Honegger, Symphonies 2 and 3, number 3 being the Liturgique. This is maybe the greatest thing he ever did, possibly. Certainly one of them. Why? First of all, because Honegger, if you want to pronounce him, was never a popular composer. He still isn't. He's not somebody that you would think that Karajan would automatically turn to. He was performed and championed by French conductors in France with less than great orchestras, as often as not. His repertoire of his symphonies on disc, especially at the time that this sucker was made, which was, I don't know, it doesn't even say back here, but the repertoire in those days was not thick on the field. There wasn't tons of competition. And what there was, like I said, was not always of the best quality. Well, he did it. He gave it the treatment. But the wonderful thing about Honegger is that his style is relentlessly contrapuntal, and Karajan was a chord guy. It offers Karajan absolutely nothing by way of beauty of tone, except the second symphony, which is all for strings. It allows for virtuosity in the string section, and density and violence of articulation in the string section. And Karajan, to his credit, did not disguise that. He did not smooth everything over and turn it into a puddle of bacon grease. No, he realized everything that was in the music at the highest standard of technical proficiency. And because it's contrapuntal music, he kept it moving. He kept it moving well. And in the Liturgique, which is for full orchestra, it has crazy screaming horns and woodwinds and whatnot. He let that orchestra play. He just let them play. My goodness, he let them play. Thank God he let them play, because when turned loose and not restricted by having to put an oil slick over everything, they were amazing. I mean, they were great players, the best players in Europe quite often is not, and able to do tremendous things. And so here it is, Honegger Symphonies 2 and 3, the best recordings of those works at the time that they were issued. Since then, of course, there have been a million more, and there's more competition. But these have never been surpassed. They may be equaled, they may be primus inter pares, first among equals, but they remain first among equals, and a real testament to what Karajan as a conductor, as an interpreter, could do in music that was not familiar to him or to the orchestra. And that says a lot. It says a lot about what he might have done had he been a little bit more enterprising and a little bit less neurotic about showing everybody his credentials as the ultimate German conductor in German music. He could have done so much more. Oh well, we're happy to have what we have. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.